Here we are on day 18. And I want you to all sit back because I know how you love all this. And believe me, I've found some things that are going to make you either raise an eyebrow, scratch your head, or you say, wow, or do whatever. But first of all, I want to thank you for being here and thank you for all your comments. They're getting to be so many that it's hard for me to read and like and heart. But you know, I heart and like you, right? And welcome to all those who have not been before. I think you're going to like it here. Do you remember when we first started out on this journey? I believe it may have been, I don't know, the third or the fourth, something like that, when we first started. I said that I saw Nancy in blue. And then I think it was a couple or 3 days later, then we saw this picture taken by Fox News Digital. It was Michael Ruiz, that there was a blue garment on the front of the walk. And people were like, oh no, Zelda, you know, whatever. It came out yesterday that that was in fact Nancy's LL Bean blue jacket. That investigators used it for the dogs when they brought the dogs in. And I'm not sure if it was from Border Patrol that they used their dogs or whatever, but they used it. Someone put it down and just didn't pick it up. So that was Nancy's blue jacket. So we know we're on the right wavelength. That right there is, I'm getting these little confirmations, and all of you, sometimes it may be in the most subtle little things. The more I get into this, the more sus I am, and I know that you are too. There's some things here that don't make sense. This isn't as if kidnapping is normal, but it's not that type of thing. There's something wrong on top of being wrong to do this with Nancy. Then we have the DNA thing. Then we have the gloves thing. Then we have this, and then we have that. Push, pull, and it's no wonder I heard that word hesitate. Now, here comes Auntie Zelda with the big book of Bull. Give me a second. You know, I make a lot of notes in this, and here we go, and a lot of them. Oh, my goodness. Give me a second. I'm going to find out where it is, and you all are going to know it. There we are. I got it marked. Have faith. The big book of Bull. Now, I had to write this down because I think it means a lot. Nancy. And this is the sheriff, Nanos. And I've got something about the sheriff, too, that I want to tell you. The first time he made a statement, which was Sunday, it says, no one is ruled out of being a suspect. No one. Okay. Then on Monday, he comes out and says, well, the family has been ruled out as suspects, including all spouses and siblings. Who does that? I don't know. I've got an opinion. And then yesterday, he says the family has not been identified as suspects. I feel like I'm at a square dance, do-si-doing around. This is obviously someone pressuring. I'm positive Savannah got on the phone, probably some NBC exec got on the phone and said, look, Sheriff, you know, one of these days elections are going to come up and nobody wants to read this continued big book of Bull, and you better straighten up and fly right, because things are going to be looking pretty bad. In the meantime, the feds, when approached with this information, are like, nah, no comment. Nah, I'm not going to go there. Let me ask you this. If the family's sorry, I got a page there that is wanting to open up. No. If the family are not suspects, and basically the way you're treating it, Sheriff, is like they've never have been, Why did you tow Annie's car right from the jump? Tommaso was the last person that saw. And see, I got that mixed up because people are reporting things are mixed. It's just like tossing a ball back and forth wherever it lands. It's like having one of those little magic 8 balls. Have you ever seen that? And you twist it around and then whatever comes up, that's the way it is. That's the word of our day. Pee Wee Herman, what's the word of the day? No, right? So they had their car impounded. They were sitting outside of the home, taking pictures. They were over there constantly. So he succumbed to pressure. But then there's another side of this coin. In the Scott Peterson case, Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson was always told he was not a suspect 3 times. Basically say, oh no, he's not a suspect. And he was number 1 on the list. Could it be that they don't want to say that Tommaso, I'm just asking, I'm not accusing now. Because, law enforcement has a license to lie, and they will twist and turn, and my gosh. I was telling my son the other day, an FBI agent that I knew a long time ago, working on a case about 100 years ago, was sitting around the table, and they had someone in there that they were talking to and about a missing person that had missing money. And during this investigation, one of the FBI agents was sitting there, because this was in Tennessee, sitting there looking at me saying, hey, can you do me a favor and can you get me tickets to Dollywood? And I looked at him and I said, you've got to be kidding me. You just don't think you can just walk up there, skippity-doo-dah, and flash your little badge and walk right in with your family? You have to, what? I'm not getting them for you for free. And he's laughing the whole time. And there's another very young, impressionable, wanting to make a good impression FBI agent talking to another person, almost as though interrogating, and that should not have happened because that wasn't a person to interrogate, but he was flexing a little bit. So the man who was being interrogated left the room, and then we're all just kind of sitting there chatting and whatever. And I mean, you could tell his whole countenance changed when that guy left. And I looked at him and I said, you know something? Probably one of the worst things that I could ever ask to be. And they're like, what? And I'm like, the wife of an FBI agent. And they're starting to laugh. I said, seriously, you come home from the store and they'll say, Zelda, where'd you buy that dress? Oh, I bought it over here. No, you didn't. You were there at 3:18 p.m. and you stayed for 12 minutes and 48 seconds. And then you checked out. But then you left and you went to the Chinese shop. What did you get at the Chinese shop? Oh, yeah, I forgot. I did pick up some Chinese. I got an egg roll and some lo mein, just something to tide me over until I got, oh, no. You not only got egg roll and lo mein, you got crab rangoon. And I was going through this whole scenario. These guys were cracking up. To the one guy who asked me for Dollywood tickets was laughing so hard. And I'm telling you that to give you an example. Because these people they are trained to have these split personalities on purpose. Because it is a mental game. Now, was this a PR thing? I don't know, but I've got some other things that I want to tell you. So those 2 things I wanted to share with you. The sheriff, and we're going to get into this in just a minute. So let's mark our day. And yes, I have to give you antidotes. People get on me. If you're going to write to me and say, this is serious and you cannot laugh, here, this is serious. And that is me with my finger on the remove button. Thank you. All right. So now, look, we've made it through all these days, and now we've started another day. And Tuesday, let's see, the sheriff changed changed the statement about the family. Then, no DNA matches. But now they're going to go to GGI. Oh, no, wait, IGG, sorry. Investigative genetic genealogy, and that can take a long time. Okay, so now today. Today is February 18th, a special day for many of us, and it is Wednesday. And I'm going to give you the time exactly. 12:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There we are, my friends. Now we're in business. The doctor is in. Here we are. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a forensic profiler as far as tarot is concerned. Okay? This is what I do, and this is how I read for crime cases and so forth. Yes, I can predict other things and, will you go on a date next Saturday, that type of thing. But this is my gig. So here we are. I got something I want to show you. Here we are with more numerology, my darlings, and a little something special right here. You can see it peeking through. Now, there's some things that I want, and a lot of this is just for my reference, for me to be able to keep on track with an idea, but here's what I did. I plugged in all those words in from our house EVPs yesterday, and some very interesting things came up. And I did not know that the sheriff's first name is Christopher. Thank you very much in the comments, because you guys are wonderful. Here are the words. This is forensic linguistic clusters. Now, these are just all markers for times and everything else, and you would be bored. But this you won't be. I put in all the words. Chamber, which is confinement as far as numerology. I was reading it as a bed chamber. Hello. There, once again, 200 or 300 years ago. Vector is a movement. Identity is trace. Now, I don't want you to get hung up on this, because it's going to mean something here in just a minute. Today, my darlings, is Ash Wednesday. We've been talking about the number 40, the 40 ley line, and it's the 40 days of Lent. Also 40 photographs going to 13, I think it's more than 13, gun shops in the area. I think I did it on a 13-mile radius, so there probably are more. But here's something I want to show you. Let me get this. Some of the words that came up were soccer and Mila. You will see in just one moment, I'm going to point this out. The Keno Sports Complex is a soccer complex, and that's where they are having a gem show today. And the gem show has been coming up in conversations and live streams and so on and so forth, and it is on the 13-mile southwest vector. That is that southwest vector right in here, because this is where Nancy, approximately, and this is the first map that I printed out on the 3rd of February, and this is the vector that Nancy energy resonates to. I'm going to show you all this in a second. This is a massive 155-acre complex with soccer fields and stadiums. Yes, soccer is a big deal. There are, I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't want to say it, Ahowe, Santa Cruz River Basin aligns with the waters and the slopes. Then we have Mila, which is Mila's haircut. I'm going to show you that as well. Then we have the chamber and waters intersection, okay? And Snyder Hill, which is a topographical rise into the Tucson Mountains, or Snyder Hill, which sits directly in that southwest vector. These are all from those words. Then we come down here, trail is on a 9 energy. That trail is no longer hidden. Because yesterday we were in this number 8, which was the warden energy. But now we are in a different way, and it is now. I want to tell you correctly. It is the telling energy. Yesterday was all about witnessing and the warden. Today is all about telling. It's all about the investigation. It's all about that. See, numbers don't lie. And I want to explain something to you because I love all of you. And the idea that you're so interested in this, I love that. It's taken me years to perfect my Zelda case study forensic. And believe me, it has been a journey learning. It's not something that I can just teach overnight. I mean, there's study after study. I'm going to show you one of my study I can't even talk. Study periodicals. And this is, look at the size of this guy. And I have it right here beside. This is the Strong's Expanded Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible. And look at this. Talk about information. How does that work into numerology? Well, numbers don't lie. And all of the numbers in a biblical vibration code. Yes, they do. Okay, so here we go. Something that's a little interesting. Today being the third day that or day 3, and I've been counting it for numerology's sake, that's all. Sheriff Christopher Nanos and the Pima County Sheriff's Department, the fact that the House spoke his name, and it spoke its name as 1:13 p.m., the 13 sync. It's syncing, like you sync up your phone with your computer or with your car. It's a direct call for the law to bridge the gap to the truth. Amen to that. Amen. The trail at 4:14 was the final word because after we left each other yesterday, I turned on my device. I opened my device again to look at the words, write them down, write the times, get all the history. And when I did that, the word trail popped up at 4:15 p.m. And that's key because the trail is no longer hidden as of today. Blinding should correlate this directly with the perp's ritual with the flowers, how he wanted to obscure and blind that view. He blinded the camera to create the chamber of silence. The 40-day clock of Lent has started. The 40 sync, that is not S-I-N-K, that is S-Y-N-C for those who are just listening, between the ley line and the 40 gun shops, or the 40 photos rather, is now active. And the truth is rising through the 11 longitude pulse. Yes, I go by longitudes, latitudes, and so on. We stripped away the human aspect of the sound of that EVP. Now, one thing that I like about that, and that developer actually tuned that for me, because when you're dealing with energy coming into a device like that, it is based on the binary system, 1 and 0s only. That's it. That's how frequency codes. The binary system. That's what you can't depend on Are you Uncle Sam back in the, 1200s? Yes, I am. Who knows? How can you verify it's Uncle Sam? But energy doesn't lie. Energy doesn't lie. Neither do the numbers. And that's what takes me a little longer to interpret numbers and make sure that they're correct. And if you order a numerology case study from me, it is not forensic. It is based on you and your life path system. And I am behind because I am swamped with it. But believe me, when you get it, it's worth it. There are thousands of miles between me physically and North Camino Escalante, Catalina Hills in Arizona. But that's irrelevant because the 40 ley line acts as a fiber optic cable for energy. Don't you love that? So we did not hear her. We heard her pulse. We heard the pulse of the house yesterday. The electronic pulse interpretation. Since these were frequency readings, we are looking at binary truth. The spikes at a specific timestamp are energy dumps. So I just want you to know, energy goes like this. It'll wave. Energy will definitely wave. There's never usually opposing frequency that goes like this. It all goes together and it will turn. So the word cell was a spike at 1:26 yesterday Eastern. A cell hit usually indicates a closed resonant cavity. This is why the sniffer helicopters are so vital right now, and they're looking for the same ping that we got clear across country. And they can do it. They can do it. The shuttle, which I really thought was an Uber, I thought was some device, maybe even Tommaso's little shuttle, at 1:12 p.m. suggests a frequency that is moving. A shuttle frequency oscillates between 2 points. This could indicate she was being moved and that the signal was bouncing between a metal structure and the sniffer's sensors. The chamber spike at 109 is a stationary peak. It's flat, heavy resonance. It points to a static location, a basement, a shipping container, or a concrete drainage vault. Now, I told you that's where the gem show is. Sheriff Christopher Nanos. You see, yesterday the spike was at 1:13 p.m. Yes, I put dollar signs in there because those are markers for me. Because sometimes when I'm looking at all of this, numbers and letters kind of run in when you're looking at so much. So I'll do that as a breaker for it too. Like a little breaker for me. That's my personal thing. A spike at 113 is a jurisdictional, jurisdictional key. Had to think about that. Sheriff Christopher Nanos, the fact that the frequency named him while the law enforcement is actively using signal sniffers is a massive validation. It means an energy is authorized, and that was one of the words yesterday, and we caught that at 1:26. The segment strategy. In the video today, we are talking about the 11 frequency pulse of Nancy's device, technically speaking to the sheriff's equipment. We're not guessing. We're tracking the same electromagnetic stutter that the helicopters are chasing. So, because the 9 energy is a conclusion, because in numerology you don't go above 9. Why? Because you then have to start reducing double digits. And when you go to number 10, it actually reduces back to number 1. 11 reduces to 2, 12, 3, 4. You see what I mean? It's like this loop. We captured the word trail at 4:14 p.m. That's the message is clear. The search now has left the house. It was very hot and heavy yesterday. But today it says the trail is now cold at 5820 Camino, as North Camino Escalante, but rising, we caught that, at 1:16 p.m. in the southwest. So the signal has moved. The frequency, when it says signal, it means frequency has moved from the Gilded Cage, which was the name that came up for Nancy's home, to the alluvial sink, meaning a darker place. Okay, all right. This is what I have for you. Another little map. Here's the map. Here's the map. The map here, my darlings, this is Tucson proper. I wanted to make it this color so you could see it a little better. And I definitely enlarged it. This is the location area of Nancy's home. Let me write that on there. Nancy's home. This is Mila's haircuts. Could it be possible that Nancy went there to get her hair done? Is that possible? It's possible. Is it probable? Possibly. But it's close. And the fact that it came up, I mean, Mila, that's not really a name that, it's not like John Smith, right? But I want you to look here. Right here is the gem show. So now see, this line is now moving toward this way from Nancy's house. Here's the gem show. This is Keno Sports. This is Jensen Infrastructure. This has cement vaults. This is Snyder Hill. That's where it starts to slope. That's the slope that we saw yesterday. Just wanted to share that with you. This is is it Saguaro National Park West? I'm sorry if I butcher those names. My apologies. I've not been to this area before. There's the University of Arizona. And it gives some other little, there's, I don't know what that is, Bear Canyon maybe? You see, there's all kinds of different little, there's the Tucson International Airport down here. So it gives all kinds of little goodies on this little indicator map. And I'm going to give this a time and date, February 18th of 2026. And I printed this at about 11:58. Okay. There we are. Now, I want to read some cards today. We haven't read in a minute. We haven't read in a minute. Give me a second. I'm going to clear the decks, clear this because it's got a lot of energy here, but I want to be very careful of this map. So give me a second. I'll bring the cards back. All right, here we are back again. I'm going to move the Hand of Fate with the key from my love over here. And we're going to set this up. Now, the more I read in this case, I almost don't want to pick that up. This card jumps out right away. And it's the energy of sometimes going back to square one. But I'm also going to tell you, someone is watching. I believe that the person involved with this will be very surprising. I also believe that they feel untouchable. And they're watching everything. They know every move that everybody is making. And maybe that's why the sheriff, in all fairness, maybe that's why he has said, oh, no, we don't have any suspects. Let's think about it. Let's remember Scott Peterson. Yeah, this card, I've got the chills right now. Because this card is all about that final moment before it starts getting real. And I'm going to also tell you, I was wiped out after that EVP session yesterday. Energetically just wiped, to the point where it was late in the afternoon. I told my son, hey, you're on your own, pal, for dinner. I am wiped. I am just wiped. Because it takes a lot of energy. And I'm good now. So everything is fine. But, sometimes you just have to rest your neck, right? You just have to rest your neck. Now, there's a pathway to her. It's a trail we just talked about. We just talked about this trail. That the trail went cold from the house. I'll look at that later. The trail went cold from the house. That's the one perp. And he definitely, I'm going to say 98% of the time, shows up as a spade. Immature. And I'm going to call him the wannabe. I'm going to call him the wannabe. The Wheel of Fortune. Let me tell you about the Wheel of Fortune, my darlings. Sometimes this card can be very dark. And I think sometimes darker than the Devil and the Tower card. And sometimes darker than those two put together. Why? Pardon me. Well, let me get my little pointer. Because of this little fellow right here. And this little fellow right here. This snake in the grass. He's not in the grass, he's in the sky. But this little fellow right here. He is referred to as the collector of souls. You see, on this earth, we get away with absolutely zero. Nothing. Why? Because there are records that are held and are written of our lives since day one, and will be until the time we leave this plane. These can also be referred to as the four Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And I'm going to say Matthew, if you really want to get into the four Gospels, is a very good book to read, comparatively so, even though we have the pretty much same collective idea going through the four Gospels. The book of Matthew is probably the most detailed, well, not probably, is the most detailed, because Matthew was a tax collector and he was used to writing things down. If you want to look at the medical side of it and you want to get kind of a medical inference there, watch the book of Luke, because Luke was a medical doctor. All right, so here we go. You see, we have some names and symbols here in this. Okay? This is the Torah. T-O-R-A. What is the Torah? The first 5 books of the Bible in the Old Testament, written by Moses, and is called the Septuagint in the Greek language, Old Greek. The foundation of the earth and creation, and that's why it's in this, because the wheel of life turns, and you always know when it's turning up, but then it's a cycle. We all go through it. This little fellow up here, with the head of a human and the body of a lion, who's holding this sword, which is an air element, but communication, he's the one who commands how quickly this wheel goes, if it's this little fellow here kicking in and collecting souls, or if it's on an upturn, if it's going down or if it's going up. This little guy, he's always a snake. You know, have you ever heard of that? A snake is a snake? Well, that's him. A snake is a snake. And he's there sometimes because we have detriment. Now, the one thing that most people don't realize are these Hebrew symbols. Take a look at these. Those spell out the name of God. Now, why can this card be dark? It depends on the cards that are around it. If I were just to pull out this card only and I could say, the Wheel of Fortune is turning for you today, look in a positive way. And remember, we're Chinese New Year. We had the solar eclipse yesterday, the new moon. You know, I'm to the point, what was it that he said in Ghostbusters? I can't even think of his name. I can see him now, where he said, dogs and cats living together, it's totally biblical. That's kind of how I feel right now in this case. But if this card gives you kind of sort of the chills, I don't blame you. And there's a number 10 in the major arcana, which results to a number 1, meaning we may be back to square one. Okay. Let's ask, when will Nancy be found? That is the question. When will Nancy be found? I talked to my source yesterday about my material. And you know what my source told me? Yeah, people are watching, but they don't like psychics. Okay. It doesn't deter me any. It's certainly not the first time, and it won't be the last, because I don't really like the word psychic anyway. Okay. There is a shedding of light that will be coming. An epiphany, an idea. And you know what? If any of this just could shed a little light on with one person, that's all it takes. So don't worry, my darlings. People are watching. People are watching. Family room is definitely, you know, this could be the living room, the family room. I don't know the floor plan in that regard to that. I just know the perimeter walls. But the floor plan, I don't know if it was the family room. But I think really what that means is the interior of the house. I think that was the beginning of the problems. Do I think that Nancy put up a fight? Yes, I do. And look at these 2 cards that came out right when I said that. This is the main mastermind person that put this together. This is the wannabe guy. They're both implicated, okay? They're both. Are they afraid? Yes. This is the S card, the Nine of Hearts, equal to the Nine of Cups in the tarot. Now, if this card were like this, with this heart in the middle, this is one of the only cards, few that I read in reverse in the Cartomancy. If it were like this, I would say, somebody's playing some emotional games here. But the fact that it's up like this is the Yes card. Do I feel that she will be found? Yes, after the 21st. I always go back to the card before for timing. It could be any time now. I'm just going to tell you. I would like to be wrong on that. But the 21st is what, 3 days from now? And don't the Clintocks testify soon this month? We're not I'm just stating that as, and you know who the Clintocks are. They have a lot to do with that island. It's not Gilligan's. So we're not going to go there, okay? I'm just making that as a matter of fact. The Queen of Pentacles. I believe that Nancy was looked at, perceived. I just heard that word, perceived as the woman who had it together financially. Now, do I believe this was a robbery that went wrong? In my opinion, not only no, but heck no. There is a final verdict. Now, you're going to see, because these cards are a little dark, and I made them on purpose that way. Why? Because it makes you look. If they're easy to look at, if you have to look at a card, that means you have to pay attention to everything else that's going around it. This is going to be a verdict, okay? But you see, look right here. The scales of justice will be weighing in very soon. And I believe that is the FBI. Because depending upon what happens here will depend on if and how you move on here. This could take you down another road. But this is all about the final verdict. 7 candles. 7s are a spiritual number. They are not a good casino number, by the way. When you see it in casinos, that's why they put it in the casino. Because they make people think, oh, 7 is a lucky number. 8 is. 7 is a spiritual number. It's not good as far as lucky 7s. This child coming out, which is also the number 9. Yes, people, 1 plus 8 equals 9, but it's the number 18, and today is the 18th. Will we have a new beginning? This is a childlike new beginning. Look at how that little darling is looking up. Yes. Yes. This is a card, and it's funny because I just said this word. I think I did. I think so. This card is laying on, you see how this is a pattern? This is kind of like the justice system, what is happening there, the justice system, where things are, the circumstance. This is telling us all about maybe location, other parts of the situation, but this is geared on the perps, and there's definitely more than one. I believe it started out initially with 3, and I also believe that it has, that little nucleus may have grown just a little. but it has to be trusted people. But there is fear here. This what this card is. And this person right here is basically saying, don't be afraid. We're not going to get caught. We're protected. We're protected by whom? You know, there's some things that are going on there that and still with people located in the family. I'm not accusing anything of anybody. Just want you to know. But look at this. This 7, we have another 7 again. This 7 is the swords. It's an air sign. And this guy's in a hurry. He's running away from these tents. It really kind of looks like he took something that he wasn't supposed to. This is a communication. It is also our thoughts. And the fact that it's beside these people tell me that their thoughts are thinking that they're getting away with something. Look. He's kind of smirking and looking over his shoulder like he doesn't care if he dropped 2 swords. He still has the majority. He's rolling down the highway here. And he's booking it from the looks of him. It looks as though he's getting away with something. And who was I just talking about? I'm not accusing anyone. But I think that's the mindset. There is some fear and concern there. All right. Does somebody know within this investigation and or the family, now I'm not accusing, but do they know where Nancy is? That question just came to me. I'm going to answer it after this card. This is in a very dark place where you're being very watchful over something or someone. Bless you, all of you, because you say, oh, we love these long videos. Well, you're getting another one. We're going to take 2. Oh, this can be another 7. This is a number 11, a master number of foundation. Yeah, thoughts. This is all of this mess around Nancy. Does somebody think, does somebody know about Nancy? And I believe now, after seeing this, the answer is yes. Will it be far before another arrest? I'm going to say this. I believe something will happen quickly and out of the blue. We are now in Mercury retrograde shadow. And this is why it feels like the stops and starts and stops and starts and stops and this and that. And oh, this one is this. My gosh. I feel like I'm at a ping pong tournament that's gone wrong, right? This, look, how all of these people are lining up. This is the female. And this female is a real charmer. That's her characteristic of this card in this particular case and reading. She's a charmer. Somebody knows where she is. Lovers. Now, also the sign of Gemini, but let's point some things out in this card. You see there's mountains in the background, and this card is supposed to be resembling Adam and Eve, but let's take a minute, because I know you all like this, and I want to show you a little something. Let me find it. I don't have any waiting music, but, you know. Do you see the similarities in this card? Now, by the way, this technically is not a devil. It is a Baphomet. He's like looking like he's going nanu, nanu, or nanos, nanos. Huh. But you see how they are both, and this means there is a choice. Now, we didn't draw this card, but I wouldn't pull it out if there wasn't a reference here. So let's look at this card. This wing, the wings of this beautiful angel, angelic being, whose hair is on fire. And there's the sun above her. Now, the clouds, we've got almost all elements in this card. But this is supposed to be reminiscent of Adam and Eve. And you see what can happen. But this card, the Lover's card, also the sign of Gemini, I don't know if I told you that or not. You see the fire behind him and the tree with the serpent behind her. Don't tell me there's not a coincidence. That snake in the grass, waiting, watching to mess you up. The wings going off the frame of this card for this beautiful angel who has she's got some fire, man. She's draped in this very beautiful purple, traditional royal color. That means that this case is much bigger than what we would even think. There's going to be some enlightenment here. Now, the Lovers, do I think that it's part of this group right here? Absolutely, yes, I do. Because I believe it is the female that had the idea. It is this male who wants to be the king in all of his kingdom. And then they've asked for some help from this wannabe guy. Now, this is a card that can also translate into, and for you Geminis, I'm not talking about you, okay? So I don't want you to take it as though I'm saying this about you. This is specifically about this reading and the elements that a forensic reading can bring out, and that is the element of good twin, evil twin. Remember what I said about her being a charmer? Nice and sweet to your face, and behind the scenes, look out. And there's mountains in the background. And if any of you want to know what this little, you see it on many of the cards for you that are not tarot readers. You see it, we've got it here. You see this? That is the signature of the artist, Pamela Coleman Smith, who crafted each and every one of these original. I think they're delightful. But she put some work into this. I always like to give her a little. She's gone now, but this has been a long time ago. But notice how the stance is. They're standing there like, okay, what now? We need some help. She's looking up for divine guidance. Like, oh, I need some help here. But you see, he's looking to her. Adam and Eve. He looks to her for this divine guidance. But look at this guy behind, to me now, that's another story. Satan in the Garden of Evil shows up as this. Yes, that's right. Okay. This is what this can translate into. Forensically now, I'm not saying you. Forensically, I did not draw this card, but it's just me giving you an idea. This is what it can turn into. And that is, if you start going down that good twin, evil twin path, you just may get tethered into a situation that may not be easily gotten out of. So we're going to put him back. We'll just stick him in the deck here. There we go. Make sure he gets shuffled in there. Very good. So do I believe? I believe the FBI knows what they're doing. Do I believe the sheriff's office? I think that he's concerned more about his personal, what people think of him, his reputation, instead of just, he's made some pretty big mistakes on here. He kind of went after Brian Enton last night or whenever it was. Brian's got class. He's not going to say anything. And he is the reporter, by the way, that's out on the scene, boots to the ground for News Nation. I'm just going to say this. Do I feel that we are close to having something? Yes, and the Mercury retrograde should help us because it sifts things. It's like panning for gold. You have to sift and use water. You have to sift, and then all of a sudden it comes to the top. I know everybody's going to ask me, do I believe Nancy is still with us on this plane? In my opinion, when I first read cards for her on the 3rd of February, it did not look that way. I hope I'm wrong, but it doesn't look that way. The Queen of Cups equal to the Queen of Hearts. This domestic woman. Now, Nancy is not a water sign, but the tarot is not rigid when it comes to personalities and feelings. This is a very emotional card. It's a card of a woman who is the head of the family, holding dearly to memories, holding dearly in this urn the idea of the souls, not holding the souls, but the idea of the souls close, the memories. It's the memories. And you see, she's sitting on water, right? You see all these little pebbles. These are the memories of the past and family. And look at this little cherub fellow. Hi. She is holding a little fish, which is the spirit animal of the cup suit. My darlings, we're closer. I think they're going to start changing directions. I think we may hear something more later today. And I also believe within the next 24, by Friday, we should be hearing more about this ransom, this guy. Keep boots on the ground. Keep this forefront. Keep everything going. Because that's how things are. That's how it's all resolved. Today is day 3. It is a communicator day. And it's Ash Wednesday. Wishing all of you well. If anything happens, I'll be right back. Thank you so much for your time. Bye for now.